good advice that takes on so much a different turn with you. He's gonna murder me one of these days. It'll be the ones where slap stick together in final episode and hung in the background.
You'll be replaced by the next show with another e-group.
Keep the lore going. Greetings, everyone. I am Director of Arketer Labs. Presumably you can hear me. I am joined, as you surely heard, by Izib.
Yep.
No final blackout. Or final blackout. One of the two. Blackouts are involved.
Apparently.
Unless it's no final blackout, in which case it's one of those ironic names like Tiny Tim.
I mean, it's close enough.
And also, Aura Seraph is here. And someone hears a fan or an echo. Well, that's too bad. Look, the sound isolation project is not progressing to schedule. Just going to have to deal for now, I suppose. Greetings to Brian Yoder, Alan Smith, Snoopy's 100, Nightwolf, K. Scholl. And let's see if I missed one yet. Yups, it's me. No, I'm not having a chair. And Old Man Enfield. Okay, I think I got everyone. If I missed you... Oh, Bad Tempered Badger. Yes, right. Okay, now I think I've gotten everyone. And if I missed anyone... Well, too bad, I'm tired.
It's close enough.
Yeah. No, just pretend I said your name. And we'll... move on. We're going to be raffling away again this one. Another donation by Exodus. Most generous of them once again. This time it will be Dirt 3. I'll be playing a trailer of it. And then you could just stand by to indicate your desire to enter the raffle. It will be dispensed through Steam game platform. The other Steam isn't available anyway to dispense with it, which means I don't have to hit the no jiggle button today. It's good to focus on the bright side of things, especially when otherwise rather exhausted. But as you know, things are getting strange out there to start with. Some people, of course, from as early as last year, have felt that things haven't gotten nearly totalitarian enough and are even now lobbying for still more totalitarian control. Such as this archived article from The Times by an absolute mistress of crazy eyes, Sarah Fogus, who said, "We need Big Brother to beat this virus. Don't let the civil liberties lobby blind us to the fact that greater state surveillance, including ID cards, is required." This is again from Monday, April 20th, 2020. BST, 12:01 a.m. BST The Times. Because, of course, volume is scratchy. Great. Is that better?
Is there a difference?
On their end, it is.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
I don't understand why it should be thus, but here we are, and we must adapt as best we can, regardless.
Yeah, we'll sort that out after the stream.
Yes, that's a very funny thing to note, Old Man Enfield. The Civil Liberties Lobby, the big civil liberties. Big civil liberties. That's a sinister corporate interest, right? The vast and sinister interests of personal freedom. That's really strange way to put it, isn't it? Hands in the air! Step away from the Easter eggs! The Keystone Copper in recent weeks has some people muttering darkly that we are heading the way of a police state. Those who style themselves as defenders of ancient British liberties will soon have bigger fish to fry. The digital surveillance tools that government hopes to use to trace the infected. Prepare for dire warnings of state intrusion. An avalanche of 1984 quotes on social media warning that Big Brother is upon us. Yet, if we are to beat a path out of this pandemic without destroying our economy, overblown concerns about threats to our liberties must be countered by pragmatism. To recover some semblance of normality before a vaccine is found, because that totally restored normalcy, didn't it? Oh boy, that was definitely the thing that restored normalcy. And yes, Bedheaded Badger, the call link is on the server. You're welcome to hop in as well. We're not overloaded yet. If we were, I would have removed the link already. But just go ahead. I can't really send you directly at present, but it's in the general of the server. You know, hypothetically know how it goes. To recover some semblance of normality that they've been dangling in front of a lot of people's faces for years, approaching years now, we must accept the need for the state to access more information about ourselves, our health, and our whereabouts, and not waste precious weeks arguing about it. Look east to see how digital surveillance is an integral part of returning to normal life. Oh, bro, it's great. It's just starting. Hong Kong has mandatory tracking wristbands for those in quarantine. You know Hong Kong, that place got eaten by China? That Hong Kong?
Mm-hmm.
That definitely the gold standard.
Yeah, because those trackers aren't being used for anything other than just those in quarantine.
No, they wouldn't be used for anything malicious.
Not by the Chinese government, never.
But in Taiwan, the phone tracking system is known as an electronic fence, and those who are meant to be in isolation be visited by authorities if their phone is turned off. Because
again, China would never use that for anything nefarious.
Oh no! I mean,
Of course not.
who would ever expect the government to abuse that in any way?
Your phone battery died. We're the police here to help you recharge it.
In South Korea, the pooling of data from credit card use, mobile phones, and CCTV cameras means they can detail movements of an infected citizen down to where they sat in the cinema and which bar they went in for a beer afterwards, and in less than 10 minutes can trace and contact the one who is sitting 2 stools down. This is supposed to be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing. Even the worst. Proposals nowhere near as strong as those are meeting. Proposals nowhere near as strong as these are meeting serious opposition. Yes, good. Not nearly hard enough, though. Edward Snowden, patron saint of the paranoid, I mean, he just revealed that they were actually watching you. That clearly you're paranoid if they're actually doing it, too.
My end?
Has warned.
Yep.
Presumably you're not involved in this betting badge. I'm not ruling it out. Welcome to the poll directly. Looking good as usual.
I'm in. I've hacked the system and appeared in the little screen in the corner.
Yes, you've completely backtraced the internets and cyber hacked into this very secure very secure system, yes. And it is quite the technological feat.
I had to do several captures in order to get into Discord again.
It's so secure that when Blackout tried to join, we told him no, and it let him in anyway.
I still don't understand what happened.
In any case,
I'm here to shout at the government for being privacy invading bastards.
You slipped under the crack there, Blackout.
We'll just, I'm moving on with this. Edward Snowden, patron saint of the paranoid, who was just, actually right about everything he said, has warned the digital remedy for this disease will become a disease itself, remaining long after we've been given the all clear for coronavirus, which is never going to happen. Privacy advocates, in quotation marks, privacy advocates, Because they're only ostensibly privacy advocates. They're just, of course, we know, shills for big privacy, the sinister interests of big privacy. Across Europe are determined to thwart what they see as unacceptable levels of state intrusion. Last month there was an outcry in Germany over plans to require mobile phone operators to hand over customer data, forcing the government to pull the proposals and go back to the drawing board for a softer voluntary alternative. Oh no! The government was forced to acknowledge the will of its citizens. That's terrible.
It's absolutely horrifying.
Don't they know they can trust the German government? You know, the same German government that placed orphans with pedophiles for years and never properly addressed it? I mean, you can't trust the German government with all of your personal information. Who can you trust?
I don't even trust myself with my personal information.
Got it. Crackhead Jimmy down the way is supposed to be really good at keeping secrets.
Where do you think I keep it if I can't trust myself?
Expect similar tussles in Britain, where civil liberties pressure groups are particularly noisy, as demonstrated a few years ago by their successful rebranding of a perfectly sensible piece of legislation as the Snoopers Charter. Big privacy again, clearly. Any moves to use our data for public health purposes is bound to stir up complaints.
Who wrote this?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, because it bears revisiting. Claire Fogus, Queen of Crazy Eye. And this is the face of someone you have to get a restraining order against.
Would Claire be okay with me having access to all her phone records?
You know, you would think she'd be okay with that. But well, only if you're government. I mean, she wants government to have all the personal information.
I think you hit on it there, Ark. It's all the restraining orders taken out on her by her ex-boyfriends. That's what she's after getting around now.
Maybe. I wouldn't rule it out. But, yeah, a year ago. And the vaccine was the dangled carrot about how we'd get back to normality. How is that looking from 2021, everyone? Did normality return?
No, not really.
50% of the populace vaccinated in most cases. General standard for herd immunity achieved. Are we back? Is everything as we're all clear now, right? No? Weird. It's almost like it's being used to accomplish something else now.
In fact, since things were supposed to get back to normalcy, I can no longer buy 4 a.m. chicken tenders if I wanted to.
Right, Snoopers Charters, any moves to use our data for public health is bound to stir up complaints. As they should. Indeed, when new NHS contact tracing app was announced last week, I somehow doubt that was brought down. The former head of MI5, Lord Evans of Weardale, said it was a very intrusive set of proposals. That would be a real intrusion to people's private lives. And then he got kicked out of the Lord Club, I guess. Such dark warnings seem strangely out of date and age when we all endlessly volunteer data about ourselves. Unthinkingly click I agree into the box that pops up with every website we visit and send information about our wants and desires to big tech companies who monetize this information. Oh, so because some people are reckless with their personal information, it should be perfectly acceptable for everyone to have to be reckless with their personal information. That's solid logic. It's like if someone jumps off a bridge, you have to jump off the bridge too.
Look, if enough people jump off the bridge, it'll stop whoever's last from dying.
Maybe that's the logic here. They're just trying to build a
bridge, really.
It's nice not to have to just flail for the jiggle shield.
Sounds like a fun tourist attraction. We could start pushing people off.
You could set up a shop nearby that sells the shoes and stuff.
Oh yeah. We need to recycle all those things that they don't need anymore.
I've been informed that recycling's bad now.
Brian has just donated $20 to support the stream. Much appreciated, Brian. With the message of, show me that sexy, no jiggle zone screen. Message tracked by the totally not fascist agencies. Well, You know, it's on request, I suppose. Where is that? Take my time. I don't think it's been sized for the new screen, has it? Yes, it's terrible.
Come off the top
And
a little bit
oh, screw it. It's this badly off. I can just.
So is whoever the hell wrote this article telling me that all I would need to do in order to have access to all our phone records and internet history and shit is work for the government?
Pretty much, and that is, of course, the right and proper thing to be the case. And if you don't think that's right and proper, well, then you're clearly paranoid and probably want to blow Edward Snowden.
Well, I don't think that being paranoid and wanting to blow Edward Snowden are necessarily connected. He's quite an attractive man.
Yeah, I suppose this is not truly relevant. I hope you're enjoying this hot jiggly sign action, Yoda. Hopefully you don't mind being covered. Just imagine Steam's here and jiggling to where you can see it, but they can't. And imagine how much I am relieved to not have to be worrying about that at present. But in any case, with the same logic that if some people are jumping off the bridge, you should have to as well, let's progress. To be comfortable selling our digital souls to Facebook and co, and not to our government, which has a clear and life-saving reason for wanting some basic information, would be nonsensical. You should want to sell your soul to anyone who wants it, especially, the authorities who have your best interests at heart, as opposed to people who want to sell you things. That's so much better. Everyone can trust the government.
Look, I can't even trust my own fucking phone company not to sell my phone data to someone to sell me shit.
Yeah, with the predatory corporations already selling you your data is not a justification for other people to do it. It's a justification to stop them doing it.
Yes, and furthermore, they're talking about people voluntarily giving up information they probably shouldn't to justify having to give up your personal information to, of course, the totally trustworthy interests of government. Government's known for its incorruptibility, right? The real problem... Oh, go on.
There's another thing with this is just the governments are not at all secure with your with their own data, never mind yours. I once went to a local government cybersecurity meeting, which I thought was going to be what kind of, it was going to be about all the technical sides of it, saying, right, we've got this new security software and this is how we use it. What it was, guys, we've got to stop emailing the wrong people.
It's about right, yeah.
And Dave, stop leaving your laptop on the train.
Yeah, with the CC for every person in the fucking government open with somebody's medical records right there.
Yes, this is from 2020. But even from 2020, wasn't there a significant breach of medical information?
Probably.
Orla, you're
So
saying?
the UK, the government has decided that it owns all of our medical data and they want to be able to sell it on to anybody. But the other thing that I was going to say, it came out that most countries were relaying most of their messages and information through one of the Nordic countries like Sweden or something. But America had bought the company that people were using, so they were reading basically every other country's messages.
Marvelous.
That's fun.
Well, if you trust one government, why wouldn't you trust them all?
I don't trust any government.
Because Sweden is a neutral country. It basically picks no sides ever.
Michael, would you like to weigh in on the Swedes?
No comment.
Swedes do quite well in pasties.
The real problem with the NHS app, as proposed, is that it doesn't go far enough. It has two major flaws. First, it relies on self-diagnosis, which, given the number of hypochondriacs out there, would be painfully inexact. This just means to be paired with testing on a huge scale to be of any real use. The second issue is that this is voluntary. To be properly effective, over 80% of smartphone users must take it up. A heroically ambitious target, given that Singapore's similar traits together. 12%?
If you live next door to someone who actually has already been tagged as having COVID, it'll ping you, even if you don't come in direct contact with them. And just because you live next door. Because it'll pick it up through the walls.
Right now, it's coming back up. Sorry, I got to come on chat ever so briefly. Gray says that the VA has been compromised at least 8 times by hostile breaches or careless idiots. I think it all boils down to careless idiots. Strictly speaking, the hostile breaches are competent, but they can only happen if everyone else is careless.
Breaches in any form of security are down to human incompetency.
Kamala is going to Vietnam for diplomacy with the message of America's back. I don't know if you're making that Barrett plug, but if so, that is hilarious. And I shouldn't rule it out. I really shouldn't.
So flamethrowers are back in style?
I guess we're going back to Vietnam, everyone.
The smell of napalm in the morning.
Is that the China thought that's where the COVID really came from? Are we going after patient zero there now? Is that going to be the excuse?
And we're just gonna have it re-released as a movie, and it's gonna be Heart of Darkness, but with COVID.
Heart of COVID.
Good morning, Vietnam.
See, all they had to do to prevent the COVID was fry their bat bits properly.
I think that's probably enough jiggling of the sign. Everyone's pretty well behaved here. And, if one of you want to... I appreciate the fact that almost none of you ever attempt to jiggle. Also, suddenly very grateful for Froman's absence. But we wish them well! They were struck by lightning or something. But more on that later. Apparently it's going around. As I understand it, a quote from them is that they finally did something so cringy, God themselves said to knock it off. I believe them. Moving on. Let's not waste any more time on this. We only have an hour, and there's far more than an hour's crazy remaining in this. Oh, just wow.
Eric says that was real. She's going, and that she wants them to fight China for us because we can't.
Someone link me to the first article. I might do a whole angry rant about it on the internet.
I will provide you with it, or else you can find it marked down in Ingerman's Rage pages. It was Dr. Kelly who provided the archive link, and you can pull direct from there, or I'll send it to you via DM in a bit. In the meantime, let's see, where should we go? Reasons you must trust the government.
I've done a proper angry rant on the internet for a while.
GOP lawmakers barred from checking on prison conditions for January 6 inmates. This one didn't get a lot of reading in general because it was paywalled. This is one of the things that Dex Killer complained about not being able to read. So I thought it'd be very important to just go ahead and get around that for the people at home. This was from July 29th, 2021, updated July 29th, 2021. 2 days after being denied entrance in the Department of Justice and then being chased away by protesters, 4 Republican lawmakers probing the conditions of the inmates arrested in connection with the January 6th breach of the U.S. Capitol have been barred from a facility where 50 of the prisoners are said to be held. Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, and Louis Gohmert and Paul Gosar showed up at the D.C. Central Detention Facility on the morning of July 29th. The lawmakers have been inquiring into reports that those involved in the incursion into the Capitol have been severely beaten, held in solitary confinement, and denied access to evidence about their own cases. The members of Congress were allowed into the lobby, but were quickly told by a corrections officer that they were trespassing. "You're obstructing," the corrections officer could be heard saying in a live broadcast streamed by the Right Side Broadcasting Network, or RSBN. My gosh, the government is upside down, Gomert said in response, before getting easily duped into leaving. The corrections officer indicated to the members of Congress that her supervisor would speak to them outside. But when the lawmakers went outside, they found that they were then locked out of the building in what Gates called a bait and switch. Gates attempted to reenter the facility and was denied, along with an attorney who was trying to enter to see a client. The supervisor was came down and standing right here, but she turned her back on me, Gomert said. The other one won't talk to me. Gomert said he and his colleagues gave the facility advance notice they would be attending. He didn't say how far in advance, but they never received a response. He said there shouldn't be anything preventing members of Congress from examining facilities of which they have oversight, as he's done numerous times in the past. I wonder what's changed. The Republican lawmakers expressed dismay at what they said were authoritarian tactics displayed by the Department of Justice and the D.C. Department of Corrections. We've turned a corner. We're in totalitarian Marxist territory here, Gomert told RSBN correspondent Liz Willis. So he's at least relatively aware. But, wow. Just wow. Orla Seraph has just supported the stream with $5. Thank you, Orla. Much appreciated. No, truly expected. With a message of jiggles in spirit. I'm sure Steam will be just
There,
absolutely.
sort of
Oh
something
no!
for everyone. And
Jitsy's working against you, Izu. Oh, okay.
There he goes. There, something.
Truly, it's clear Steam is sorely missed. By the rest of you, anyway.
I am occupationally obligated to harass you.
Yes, Hara Foundation, employment, and all that, and slightly reduce
I just do it for fun.
I just came here to shout about government, but consider me jiggling in spirit as well.
Great. That was real, she's going, and that's the message. She wants them to fight China for us, because we can't. If I were Vietnamese, I would want to see that speech. I want in the room where Kamal is going to give a lecture, because that, in that context, has to be just what could be funnier? What could be pure comedy than to have America come back to the country they're famous for being in a war with for no good reason, and then ask them to fight China for them? I don't know when this is happening, but we should be able to hear the laughter from here. I can only assume this is a gift to them. It's like a sort of indirect apology. Sorry, we invaded your country for a while. Have a few laughs on us. In any case.
That's it. They say a good way to endear yourself to someone is to ask them to do something for you. So, you know, if America goes to Vietnam and says, "Hey, could you fight China for us?" Maybe that'd be a good strategy.
Be your bestest buddy.
Sorry about that whole thing we did. Just fight this guy for us. It'd be great.
Pinky
Just
promise.
fight the person that supported you the last time we were here fighting us.
Because they're bad now. Well, they're bad before, to be honest, but
Your bestest buddy. Bestest.
we'll give you some. We'll give you some COVID. We'll give you some vaccines.
Well, if anything, it's at least superior. We'll move on. Let's see. The federal employees here spent more time taking videos and photos of us than they spent trying to give us the opportunity to do what members of Congress do every month of the year to review a federal detention facility, he said. If there's any indication how they're treating the prisoners inside, I'm very concerned, Green said. The lawmakers left the facility to go vote on Capitol Hill around 1 p.m. They reconvened outside Dr. Reporters and others about their experience that morning. Green said that any lingering doubts she had about the reports of abuse are now removed, and she's convinced the genuine inmates and other prisoners are being mistreated. Yeah, oh boy, I really can't wait to learn, well, first off, if they get out at all. And just a reminder, this means that we've got political prisoners in the US. We're totally a first world country still. Not drifting into a totalitarian nightmare state. Tee-hee. Government proposed the idea of defunding federal facilities that don't accept commercial
you
oversight.
can be arrested for upsetting the government.
Lawmakers' failed attempt to enter the correctional facility came 2 days after they were prohibited from entering the Department of Justice. On the afternoon of July 27th, they held a brief press conference to list a number of unanswered questions they have about January 6 inmates before being run off by left-wing protesters who, of course, are very concerned about freedom. So much so that they're going to run interference for unlawful imprisonment. By the government they trust so much. That's why they wanted all the police defunded, right? Because they trust the government to do the right thing. Government said that they haven't heard back from the DOJ since then. So he's been ghosted by the DOJ, bringing the number of their unanswered queries to the DOJ and corrections officials to at least 7. Oh, good. They're going to ask questions. This is the sort of hard-hitting action we need in times like this.
Are you doing
The AG, Attorney General, and the head of the Federal Bureau of Prisons cannot hide forever.
Okay.
Ultimately,
Thank God.
if they want to answer the door when we go to them, they're going to have to come to us, Gates said. That's how Congress works. We'll see, I guess. It's so very hard to hear someone say, that's how Congress works with a straight face. Hypothetically, I assume Gates wasn't cracking up as he said it. The longer they delay in answering these questions, the more suspicious it looks. More suspicious than this.
Well, one thing that's sort of weird here is the sudden appearance of the left-wing protesters, it seems. Maybe they were
I'm
there
sure that's-
beforehand, but kind of feels like somebody called them in.
It does kind of feel like that, yeah. It's almost like they're more agents than activists in the classic sense. Maybe they believe they're
At the very least,
preventing...
useful idiots.
I am
Yes.
sus of this. I am highly sus.
Aptly played. Your mastery of this is impressive, and the timing is perfect. Very, very sus.
Wait for it, wait for it.
Yeah, it conveys my sentiments as well.
There he is.
But how do you get the eyeglasses to narrow? That's the one problem. This is why I make sure that my eyewear is sufficiently set low. I have to make use of my eyebrows because people can't see if I'm squinting suspiciously. I do that all the time anyway. A lot to be suspicious of.
When
He
your whole
really
face,
just has bad eyesight.
when your whole face is fur, it's difficult to show eyebrows. I might just draw them on.
In a bit of good bad news next. Officers flooded after man 81 who lived in woods 3 decades forced out of home, cabin destroyed. Concord, New Hampshire, an off-the-grid New Hampshire hermit known to locals as River Dave, whose cabin coincidentally burned down on a wooded property where he's squatting for 27 years, has been inundated with offers from far away as California for a new place to live. Dave Lidstone, 81, lived in the woods along the Merrimack River in the town of Canterbury. He was jailed on July 15th on a civil contempt sanction and was told he'd be released if he agreed to leave the cabin. The property owner, Leonard Giles, 86, the elder one, once Lidstone off the property. Fire destroyed the cabin on Wednesday afternoon. The same day Lidstone appeared in court to defend himself. He'll be back in court Wednesday. What a coincidence!
What state was that?
New Hampshire. South of Burlington, Vermont. Sorry. Concord, New Hampshire, AP. This is Sanders' territory, isn't it? Normal. The Fire Marshal's office said it is investigating the blaze, but deferred questions to the Canterbury Fire Department. Lieutenant Dave Nelson of Canterbury Fire. He said he expects the investigation to take a few days. There were no updates available about its cause on Thursday. We just had the fire yesterday. It takes a while, Nelson said. I'm sure it was perfectly. Just like several police officers since January 6th have all committed suicide. It was a very depressing moment for the police officers who weren't in any way, none of them killed on 6th, but apparently a whole lot of them killed themselves after the January 6th. That's perfectly normal. There's nothing to be suspicious about there. You can trust the government, right?
I may have lost track of what article we're on now while I was getting my sus face up.
I got sidetracked. We're talking about a hermit who lived in the woods off-grid who...
Yeah, according to a quick search, he can claim adverse possession in either state for the amount of time he's been there.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to that, in fact. Adverse possession of property under New Hampshire law. The concept of adverse possession is one of the oldest doctrines in property law. In simple terms, if a person is deemed to have adversely possessed someone else's property for a long enough period of time, the first person may be able to acquire legal ownership over it. In order to acquire title to real estate by adverse possession, the possessor must show 20 years of adverse, continuous, exclusive, and uninterrupted use of the land claimed. Therefore, in order to constitute adverse possession, the property must be used without the actual owner's permission and must be used for 20 continuous years. Let's see, how long was he on there? 27 years. So that seems to be over 20 years. It seems like someone might want to be funding River Dave's legal fees on this one. Should pay off. Wonder if someone's setting up a GoFundMe for me yet. That would be funny. Personally, though, I just want it settled with a duel between River Dave and Leonard Giles. I think Dave can win.
Yes, very much. I am all for dueling as a form of settling legal disputes.
Yeah, David Lidstone is 81, Leonard Giles is 86. I think it's fair.
My preference is, of course, swords. First blood or to the death is fine. Either.
Look, I'm pretty sure they can take each other out with overstuffed pillows. First blood would probably be to the death.
Well, depends what I put on my blade, doesn't it? I mean, maybe.
Greetings. Exodus, and note, Exodus is the person who's provided the game that we'll be raffling off today. Just a reminder, we'll be raffling off Dirt 3. I'll be playing the trailer before we run out of time, and we'll handle it the old-fashioned nerd way through random.org. Remember, Dirt 3 through Steam. Thanks to Exodus, who has provided this as a consequence of their charitable donations. So it's very up and nice and so on. Speaking of, we shouldn't forget that just because the first world governments are fucking up doesn't mean you can't really screw the pooch in somewhat questionable advanced worlds. Judges throw out rape case citing red underwear as evidence of consent.
Oh, this thing.
It's in Malaysia, and 2 of the 3 judges were female, and they ruled that women only wear red underwear on special occasions when they intend to have sex.
I saw a comment on this which was, well, yeah, I only wear red underwear when I intend to have sex. That doesn't mean I intend to have sex with you.
No.
Yeah, that's a question there. How do the panties indicate who they intend to sleep with? That's And wearing red panties indicates that you might be down for having sex at a given location, but it doesn't. What was someone's name on it? I mean, if the name was engraved on the underwear,
and you wanted to be fancy, and then it turns out he's a douchebag.
Yeah, I have to say, underwear seems like a really poor basis of consent. According Peru has thrown out a rape case saying that the alleged victim wore lacy red underwear to a party, and that was a clear sign she intended to have sex that night, so she could not have been raped. The bench, 2 of whom were women, meaning that truly women can get it really, really wrong. Very egalitarian. They're just...
Too
How
many
many?
people are kind of brainwashed into thinking that it's your clothes that matter, when that really doesn't explain people who end up in that kind of situation who wear dungarees or jeans. Or the only time that your clothing makes a statement on whether you are more likely to get sexually assaulted is if you're wearing things that make it easier for the perp. Like having your hair up, because that's a real good way to attack someone, by pulling on their ponytail.
Also, even if you're wearing deliberately enticing clothing, that only indicates that you might be interested with the right person. If this is not the right person, then you can fuck off. And even if it is the right person, then you still...
This is a
Yes,
problem
I
we
like
regularly
this
have.
person. I didn't want the, this is moving a bit quick here by
I mean,
pushing
this is
against this bin.
utterly indefensible, really, and just bafflingly insane. But we've heard this before, that somehow the clothes should indicate this thing. No, the clothes are completely irrelevant. That says nothing about whether or not they were raped. It just can't, really, not objectively at all. You could say that maybe they weren't taking as good care of their personal defense as they should, but that would not justify shit. That's just maybe a good pro tip for avoiding predators in the future, but does not affect the fact that the crime is inexcusable. Any case, the bench, 2 of whom were women, stated that the victim was not as shy as she claimed, and acquitted the defendant. Judges Ronald Andia, Diana Espino, and Lucy Chakaltana ruled on October 29th the complainant had misrepresented herself, adding that women only wear red underwear on special occasions where they intend to have sex. Apparently there's some Peru book of sex dress code where...
How would the defendant know that the victim was wearing red underwear unless they'd been already up to some shit?
Yeah, can someone just randomly rape someone, but it's okay if they have me wearing red underwear at the time? Seems like a very bizarre precedent. Names did not be released from media. It reported the 20-year-old woman said she was drunk and unconscious at a party when the accused, 22, told her they were going to collect some documents from his place and he would take her home. However, she woke naked in his bed the next morning. The accused man claimed the allegations against him were just a form of quote-unquote revenge by a woman. Following the not guilty decision, there has been a national outcry across Peru. The country's Ministry of Women said it profoundly rejected the court's argument, which said it contains stereotypes and re-victimized the complainant. The case is surely a bit more complicated, especially if the victim can't recall what actually happened for being just that passed out drunk. That said, panties don't factor into this. It is not sensible for panties to factor into this in any way, shape, or form.
Being passed out drunk doesn't factor into it either, other than, the person's passed out drunk. The only thing you should be doing is helping them get home at this point.
Also, just a pro tip: anyone out there who parties, don't. If they're passed out drunk, just don't. This won't be a fun trip for them, whether they're innocent or not. Moving on, groom still wearing a tux shoots 2 people during an argument over infidelity, police say. The shooting happened in Louisiana while the groom, Jose Jones, and his bride were stuck in traffic on their wedding night. Louisiana groom was arrested on wedding night after he shot 2 people during an argument of infidelity. Police and local media said the shooting happened over the weekend where the groom, Jose Jones, and his new wife were stuck in traffic on the Bonnet Carré Spillway in La Place, about 30 miles from New Orleans. St. John Parish Sheriff Mike Tregre told the news station Jones accused his wife and a male friend who was in the car with them of having an affair. Jones then chased the man out of the car and began firing shots at him. The sheriff said The man was struck in the leg by a bullet. Another bullet went through the rear window of a car and struck a person in the hand, sheriff told the station. Both victims were taken to the hospital and are expected to survive. During the shooting, the bride got out of the car and ran to paramedics who were on the scene for an unrelated car crash. Is it possible the location is just cursed? Haunted? As this seems... Well, the sheriff said the woman told the paramedics that she was scared of her husband and was allowed to wait inside the ambulance. That's going to be a short marriage, by one means or another. In honor of the missing angry Fremen, struck by lightning, 4 men in Gurugram live to tell their tale. You might have seen this one making the rounds on Twitter. I'm pretty sure you have. Curiously enough, this article doesn't actually have it embedded. I'll pull it up for you. Well, I thought I could. I should have loaded this up separately. Oh shit. You've probably seen this on Twitter. 4 people sitting on a tree, lightning hits the tree, they all fall over. One with comical slowness. Has anyone seen that? Have I scripted that bad already?
I don't think I've actually seen that. I have to go looking now.
It has a link to the video, but it links to an entirely different article that doesn't have a video. Damn it, India! Okay, well, the video is pretty epic. You probably saw it on Twitter.
Here we are. 4 people struck by lightning. All 4 survived.
You found the video?
I think so. Are they standing around a tree in a park?
Yep.
Yeah, there's the comical slow guy. Yeah.
Okay, I botched this one, but suffice to say, they all survived. Isn't that good news? Yep, that's all 4 of them around that tree right there. For some reason, India Today couldn't actually embed the video.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well.
I
can work.
might be a very clever badger.
Eric Puck remembers seeing it. See? Entirely botched. It almost sort of, kind of, I
I shouldn't
think.
have said that before I was ready to do it. Now there's an awkward pause while I get it up. Alright, there we go. No, we don't.
Okay.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Indeed, a nice short list of all the reasons we really, really, really shouldn't just blindly trust the government there, Libby.
There they are.
Oh, we got the video. Hold on. I just need to make sure you're pinned because he's not necessarily cooperative. Here we go. The video, everyone. Anyway, one more time. They're all sitting on the tree and lightning.
Ooh. It's kind of like he looked around and just went, "Oh, all my mates have fallen over. I should probably fall over now."
Yeah, with the slow forward bend at the waist.
Yeah, I really wanted to bring up the article because I have seen that video many times before. I thought they all died. They looked like they got pretty well toasted, but no. Apparently, they all survived, according to the article here. Again, lightning struck 4 horticulture staffers at housing site in Gurugram on Friday. The video of the incident viral on social media shows 4 men standing on a tree when a flash of lightning jolts them. For anyone who watches the video, it would seem impossible for the men to have survived. Fortunately, all 4 victims were rushed to a private hospital in time and were treated for burns. So, if anyone laughed at that video, good news, you didn't laugh at people dying. Unless, of course, that is why you were laughing, and I've just ruined it for you. But you were laughing at people dying, so I'm okay with that. Jerk.
I wonder if they were saying something blasphemous.
Greetings to Ingram in the chat. Apparently, you haven't been properly purged by lighting. And we are, of course, very glad to see that. Please don't tell us what you did to actually piss off hypothetical God.
You know what would help prevent that next time, Roman? Put some sponges under your tinfoil hat.
Break the circuit.
Well, make sure they're wet.
And you're quite right. The internet does need more of that. It is learning from those mistakes. It's a very solid way to learn. And it's hilarious besides. This one goes out to a departed regular. Well, he's still alive. As far as where he's doing just fine. Gray, this article was brought to my attention by Blackout. 5 parrots separated at British Zoo after encouraging each other to curse profusely at guests. A British wildlife sanctuary has been forced to separate 5 parrots who wouldn't stop swearing at visitors. Keepers say the birds encouraged each other to keep cursing and had to be moved from the main outdoor aviary. Billy, Eric, Tyson, Jade, and Elsie were removed from view. Oh, I suppose I can unpin. Were removed from view this week, Associated Press reports. They recently joined the Lincolnshire Wildlife Centre's colony of 200 African grey parrots in August, were put in quarantine together and quickly overwhelmed the staff with their naughty language. We are quite used to parrot swearing, but we've never had 5 at the same time. The centre's chief executive, Steve Nichols, told AP, most parrots clam up outside, but for some reason these 5 relish it. According to Nichols, none of the zoo's visitors complained about the parrots, and most found them amusing. When a parrot tells you to fuck off, it amuses people very highly, he said. It's brought a smile to a really hard year.
Just imagine you've got the first one, fuck off, and then across the way, no, you fuck off.
Still, keepers thought it would be best to keep them away from the children so as not to ruffle any feathers. They should feel bad about that. They were separated and moved to various different areas of wildlife centers so they are unable to approach each other. Look, honestly,
separate them like naughty children.
I just want to see
That-
the
and
parents
that's
bringing their
wrong,
kids
that's
around
loathsome.
Bringing their kids around the bird enclosure.
they've missed such an opportunity.
Look, children, it's parrots. Fuck off!
They should have encouraged this, should have put them all in the same aviary, should have just trained them in more. Just tell them, have them read mean tweets on Twitter to thicken people's skins. Just the Twitter chorus. What would I call it? I discussed this with Franz some time ago. What was the term for it? The Twitter bad Twitterers, bad Twitter tweeters. Yes, Twitter tweeter chorus. People would travel from all over the world to go to the aviary filled with cursing parrots.
I'd go to that.
Tell me they wouldn't. I'd go. That should be a point of pilgrimage, basically. Exactly. Nichols told BBC News the parrots swear to trigger reaction or response, so seeing people shocked or laughing only encourages the birds to curse more. Good on them. I love these troll parrots and I wish them all the best. With the 5, one would swear and another would laugh, and that would carry on. I'm hoping they learn different words within colonies, Nichols added, but if they teach others bad language I end up with 250 swearing birds, I don't know what we'll do. Sell tickets. That's what you do.
Yes, sell tickets. Market that shit. 250 birds swearing at you at once. I would go there.
You literally just advertise it as IRL Twitter.
Abso-freaking-lutely, and by the way, cheers. Alright, Wolf. The swearing parrots on the wildlife's only famous birds. Last month, parrot at the zoo named Chico in viral singing Beyonce's If I Were a Boy. I genuinely would much rather listen to a whole 250 swearing parrots. Much preferred. Okay. Well, it's about time to raffle off a game. Once again, thanks to Exodus, who has made this possible. This is the game we'll be raffling off via Steam. And Dirt 3, everyone. That's the game we'll be raffling off, and we're doing that next. And I would appreciate any clever eyes in the call if they're watching chat and try not to miss anyone. Now's the time to hit one and enter into this raffle. We'll be handling the winner in the nerdiest way as possible, as tradition now on my streams, because I'm just that lazy, with random.org, closest to 100 wins. So everyone in chat, please do sign up for Dirt 3 racing game. Someone, at least one, really. Look, I'm committed to the raffle at this point. Some people like racing,
it's a
right?
solid fucking racing game. I've actually played about 20 hours of it, and
Critical Cripple, is that an entry? 72? I said say one. Just a one will do. Just the one. Not two ones. Just the letter. Okay, spell out one or just the letter one in chat if you would like to, perhaps, and probably, especially if you're the only one.
Number one, not the letter one.
we got one.
If it was a letter, it would be 3 letters, not just one number. But Critical Cripple is in for Dirt 3 at 1. Is there anyone else looking to win Dirt 3? I'll just give it to the next minute to, see if there's... Well, okay, look, as long as someone gets the game and enjoys it, that's the key thing here. Okay, well, I can hope you can all handle the anticipation and anxiousness as we find out who won.
Was 2.
It was a result of 53 for Critical Cripple, and that was the only entry, so congratulations, Cripple! You've won Dirt 3! A winner is you! You've joined our illustrious history of winners of raffles with the last winner, who out of a pool of 1 also won Yakuza 3 Remastered. Thank you again for your generous donation to this cause, Exodus.
Look, it could be worse. You could have no entries.
I will be delivering the game code to you via Twitter DM as soon as the show is over. Thank you for entering the raffle, because the only thing worse than raffling off a prize to exactly 1 entrant would be not being able to raffle it at all, because there were no entrants whatsoever. And this is why, even in this context, I'm fine and grateful, and everything is it's great.
This is how democracy
fine.
works. You make sure you're the only entrant.
So again, congratulations, Critical Cripple. Brian then donated another $20 to support the stream. Most kind to say, still sorry for my part and what you went through on Thursday, but I did laugh a lot. Message ashamed. Oh, don't be, Ryan Yoder. You were very supportive. I appreciate it, and I think we handled it pretty well in context. Certainly, you immediately made and then ruined Annalyn's day, because I'm pretty sure they did not appreciate my reading of The Grim Fate of Robert Scranton. But that's fine. It was a measure of revenge, and I have no regrets. But thank you for your kind support, all the same. We are just about out of time, 1 minute remaining in fact, but screw it, we'll go in a bit of overtime to make sure everyone can do some promotion. If you have a link to whatever you want to promote, now's the time to post it in chat with my blessing.
Well, if you'd like to see more of me and Blackout, and Brad, you can catch us here every Wednesday on Reservoir Slobs.
Yes.
well, not here, but on their channel. The link in the
where
chat.
where I
That's
posted the
that's
link.
yeah. That's not here. I mean, I'm very fond of Reservoir Slobs. I'm very
He
supportive.
doesn't know
Just
we shoot it in his lab.
Don't spoil it, Aesop.
anyone else have something they want to?
If anyone would like to see my random nature videos and possibly some angry rants about stuff on the internet, you should look at my YouTube channel. And you can also find updates for it on my social media, which I am linking in the chat.
And for my end, absolutely nothing is planned tomorrow. I'm doing nothing except possibly working on a project because the noise isolation project hasn't been given the schedule, so I have to move on regardless. And as far as I'm aware, we're on track for a side quest Monday until next time, so long as progress continues. Right. Also, Blackout's showing
Yes,
off.
red bubble. Go
Yeah,
buy.
that's probably something I should have promoted. Okay, well.
That's why I'm here.
Yes, there's a red link in the description. Buy stuff if you like, I guess. Yes.
Buy the
Buy-
things. What else are you gonna waste your money on?
Buy things that good. Disney's non-canon.
Being buyers good.
Never will be.